Greetings everyone. Today we are going to explore solving systems by graphing, but specifically you are going to be isolating y and you're going to get special solutions. So make sure if you are in my class that you have the correct notes in front of you. This would be lesson 4 of 4 on this topic. Let's get started. Today's first example, which might be listed as example 4 in your notes, the first thing we need to do, as you know from lesson 3, is isolate y. What that means is I'm going to need a little bit of workspace for each problem. So depending on the space you have, you might have to rewrite the problems and give yourself some space. Let's start with the first equation. To solve for y, I'm going to subtract x to the other side. If you need help with solving for y, you'll want to see our previous videos, as we've done this a few times this year. When I divide every piece by 2, we have to slow down here. Technically, there's a 1 in front of that x. So if I go to graph this, my beginning, which is by itself, is at positive 1. I'm going to make that dot a little bigger. Be careful with your slope. It has a negative, so I'm going to put the negative on top. I'm going to think of it this way for my m. That means down 1, right 2. I need a negative sloping line. It has to be going down as I read it, left to right. Now, because I don't know what my next line is going to look like, I'm going to do a few extra dots than I normally would. We always connect our dots. Hopefully yours are better than mine on the tablet. Let's take a look at the second equation. To solve for y, we're going to subtract the 2x to the other side first. Next, we're going to divide every piece by 4. Y equals 2, subtract. Now I have 2 fourths. That reduces to 1/2. Interesting. Look at negative 1/2 is the same m value, but my beginning is 2. I'm going to begin at 2. All right, so my slope is the same, but everything's just above or just off of the other line. So what that means is my 2 lines, and yours will be drawn better, but my 2 lines are parallel. They're parallel because they have the same slope and different beginnings. And so if 2 lines are parallel, where do they cross? Never. Never means I have no solutions. No solutions. Now, if you feel like any of this assignment is repetitive, like you've done this before, you have. We have graphed lines, we've isolated y a lot, and in lesson 2, we've talked about these special solutions. So make sure to seek out previous videos if you need some extra help. On the next example, which might be listed as example 5, we want to prep our equations with some room to solve for y. On the first equation, I only have one step. I just have to add x over. I'm going to put a little 1 in front too. I feel like that's helpful. So y equals 5 plus 1x. So we're going to begin at the number that's by itself at positive 5. My m, my move, is rise 1, run 1. Nice, easy slope. Connect and draw arrows. Let's take a look at the second equation. This one also isn't too bad. Look at where the y is. The only thing I have to kick over to the other side is that plus 5. So I have y equals x plus 5. I could put a 1 in front, compare these two equations. They're the same. So if I began again at 5, right, and rise 1, run 1, I'd have the exact same line. Now you don't have to redraw it, of course, because I'm not even going to be able to tell. And you might already know the equations are the same. So if I ask you, where do these cross? They cross everywhere. Here, 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 here. They cross everywhere. Everywhere means that for my solutions, I have infinite many solutions. Please continue to write out the full words. No abbreviations. Let's take a look at this last example here. Let's look at that first one. I actually have some options here. Now on this one, I could solve for y, but let's make it shorter. You guys, this is point slope form. You can go back to my point slope form video, but if it says the x is plus 2, I write minus 2. If it says my y is minus 2, I write plus 2. See how I changed the signs? And the number in front of x is always my slope. That was faster, and I didn't have to do any fraction work. So we're going to begin at the point -2, 2. See how I got there? Left 2, up 2. My slope is 1/2. That means rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. There we go. I'm going to connect my dots the best I can on this. Draw some arrows. All right, our second equation does require some space for work. We need to solve for y, which means I need to kick the x over first. Instead of positive 2x, we're going to minus 2x. Next, to get y by itself, this reads as -4 times y. So to undo it, we're going to divide by -4. Now, positive 8 divided by -4 is -2. A negative by a negative is a positive, and 2/4. 2/4 reduces down to 1/2. So we are going to go begin at -2. -2 is down here. We're going to count our slope, our rise run, as rise 1, run 2. And as you might have already guessed, you're like, I had a half on the other equation, right? So you already knew they were going to be parallel. Now, if I ask you where they cross, they don't. So I have no solution. Now, if you take a look at your notes, we do have a spot for some steps. It's likely on the back of your notes, but you could also jot them down anywhere you have space. The first step, since this is our final graphing systems unit, we want to fill this in. Our first step, if needed, is to isolate y. Once y is isolated, we can do step 2. We can graph the lines. We did a whole unit on graphing, so you can follow all the rules. It might be SIF, PSF, counting rise run. Step 3, that's what's new. That's the new piece, right? You have to tell me what the answer is. If it's an intersection point, you have to tell me the point, the x comma y. If they're parallel and they don't cross, then there's no solution. And if it's the same line and they cross forever, we say infinite many solutions. So if you need to, pause this video and get these steps jotted down. All right, make sure that you have all of your notes filled in. See if you need to back up and fill in any missing. Let me know if you have any questions. Check out Google Classroom to see what your task is for this. And make sure to study and review because you're going to likely have an assessment concerning graphing systems. Until next time, have a good one.